Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Jack Smith.
I'm Shrikar Gendran.
I'm Anish Gupta.
And I'm Cooper Barton.
Yeah, Cooper joining us again from Cleveland Sports Center. Go follow him on Instagram for any Cleveland sports news. We brought him here especially for this episode to talk about the entire offseason for the Cleveland Browns and what we can see come next season. Cooper, you want to get us started?
I would first like to give my grades for the offseason and the draft. For the offseason, I'll give a B+, and for the draft, I think I'm going to give a B-.
Wow, interesting. I actually liked it a lot. Any kind of want to touch on why you gave him a B+, kind of B- for both those things?
For the offseason, I really expected us to be in the wide receiver market for a wide receiver number 3. Just to give Baker a little more weapons. I think we overpaid on Hooper just a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we nailed it. Besides not taking advantage of the defensive end market with either adding Brockers, Wolf, or Clowney.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And then in the draft, I had us at a B-, I think.
Yeah.
I had that because we could have picked some players instead of the players that we picked that were going to be a little bit better and fill in some of the holes.
So I know Anish talks a lot about hoping that you guys cut Olivier Vernon to kind of free up that salary. Are you kind of on the same train as that?
I am fully in that. I say Vernon out, bring in a younger guy.
That totally makes sense.
Not only that, it's because we get all the 15.5 back, like right away. It's not dead money. We get that right back in cap, and that's 15.5 that could be used on someone like Jadeveon Clowney or towards Myles Garrett's extension that we're kind of looking into, right? There was reports by different sources that we're looking to give him 25 plus. While I don't think that's a good idea, I mean, we still are going to have to pay him, and that 15.5 mil could easily go to him. But like, just touch on your grades. I think for me, at least, like the 3 most important, I mean, Jack and Shrikar know this so much now. The 3 most important things for me for an NFL team are coach, quarterback, and offensive line. If you have those 3 things, that like just teams do well with that. Like the Patriots have consistently had that. The Steelers have always had that. That's why they've been, Tomlin, right? Big Ben and their good offensive line. I mean, it's just, you see that throughout. And obviously, like if you don't have like all 3 kind of consistent, you're just not as good. I mean, unless you have like Russell Wilson as your quarterback in your Seattle. But the pickups they made, right? Jack Conklin, I think they got him for a good deal. I really like his run blocking ability. He still has potential. He's just hitting his prime. Like I know Jack doesn't like him as much, but he's still young. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2016, his rookie year. So he's got a lot of potential there. I agree with you on the fact that we did overpay for Austin Hooper. Like 11 mil a year for a tight end is just kind of. I mean, it just seems out of market. I mean, they kind of reset the value. So but it kind of does hurt teams like the Niners who are going to have to give Kittle his money. But I mean, other signings that we had some low-key signings, right? Like Carl Joseph, BJ Goodson, Zendejo, guys kind of like that. Also the Case Keenum one, I was kind of sad about, like that we gave $6 million a year to a backup. But I guess you can see, I mean, obviously Baker's in that pivotal 3rd year, right? And if he doesn't work out, Case Keenum with Stefanski did lead the Vikings to 13-3. So I kind of like that a little bit more when I looked into it. But for the draft, also, I kind of thought we were doing just fine in the first 2 rounds. Though, would you rather have had Antoine Winfield or Grant Delpit? Could you care to touch on that?
I've been fully on Delpit since December. I expected him to go in the first round, but he fell at 41 because of his tackling, and I just think his ball hawking is just way too good to pass up.
I think I guess because it's like, he did well with Greedy, right? That was his best year when Greedy Williams was still there, and then obviously they're going to play alongside each other now. But again, I think we touched on it in the episode about the best draft. But what do you think about taking Phillips over Malik Harrison? Do you think that would make a big impact later on? Because we are short at linebacker. We lost Joe Schobert.
And Troy Dye.
Really big loss. Yep. Troy Dye.
It's only BJ Goodson. BJ Goodson. He picked up, right?
He hasn't played.
He's only going to account for so much. So
he's just depth, exactly. So I like linebacker. I think we're extreme. That's probably our weakest spot. So I'm kind of concerned there.
I think guard is our weakest spot. Batonio's fine. He's fine. But
Yeah.
Teller's a little.
Why
Teller's had his
he-
moments though. I'm kind of into like he had his moments against the Patriots. Like that was probably his best game. So I mean, right guard, yeah, it's kind of iffy, but I think obviously revamping I'm not a big fan of revamping the entire O-line in a year. That's why I didn't like what the Jets did by signing like 4 guys and kind of throwing them all in one off season. I feel like that's just hard to build chemistry. Obviously without all the OTAs too, like that's going to be really hard. So I think Teller can be that guy, but I believe we did keep Chris Hubbard to kind of switch over to guard. Maybe he can do better.
You guys also drafted you guys drafted Nick Harris. He played center at Washington, but I think you can just kick him to guard. So
he could do well.
Compete with Wyatt Teller.
But you can also do well with 4 out of 5. I mean, they're pretty good spots on the offensive line with now Conklin, Wills, Batonio, and blanking on the center's name. Want to help me out?
J.C. Treader.
J.C. Treader.
So, I mean, having 4 out of your 5 offensive line spots solidified is it's no joke. So I think that the Browns' offensive line got much better, and that was the key to their offseason. They needed to get it done, and they did. So I think looking at it, if I was a Browns fan, I'd be happy with what they did, especially on the offensive line.
Yeah, I really like what they did.
Cooper, I just had a couple. What are your thoughts on 1, Andrew Berry, how he's done? 2, taking Kevin Stefanski over a guy like Saleh, right? There were a lot of options there. We took Stefanski. I kind of liked it, but what are your thoughts on picking Stefanski over all the options that we had? We kind of went in early a bit. I thought we should have waited longer to see, but what are your thoughts on kind of pick Andrew Berry and Stefanski?
For Stefanski, first the head coach, I really, really thought Rivera should have been the guy in Cleveland, but he went in like week 14, I think, or it was during the season, or as soon as the season stopped. Wasn't
right
it?
As the season stopped.
Yeah,
I believe.
But I think after that, I wanted Saleh a lot just to help the defense. But we got an offensive mastermind to help Baker Mayfield. He's done extremely well with Kirk Cousins, and I just feel like that will help the Browns in the long run. But Andrew Berry, I did not want to see Dorsey go. I was a big Dorsey guy. But other than that, I think he's done phenomenal so far. Without signing Joe Schober, I think he's been perfect.
What'd you like?
I think.
What'd you like about Dorsey?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Dorsey was a risk taker. He really liked bringing in big players. Like he liked the big players.
Yeah.
When he brought Odell, that was one of the best moments in Cleveland. Everybody was on board with it. There wasn't a person that was like, "Oh, we don't want Odell." Everybody wanted Odell. He just brought so much hype to the city of Cleveland. And I feel like that was Dorsey's best thing. He wasn't afraid to spend money.
So would you say?
I just wanted to touch on because I initially loved what Dorsey did, but as I look back on it, because Barry was here from 2016 to 2018, right? And him and DePodesta, they accumulated all these assets, and then Dorsey got to use them all. So it was really hard to not look good with all those assets that you had. Right, like you could have, like they had so many draft picks, they had so many like players on cheap deals, like Jabril Peppers, all these guys that we gave away, and we traded and we let go, right? And we had the cap space to work with. We still have hella cap space now. So I was kind of like, when I look back on it, I mean, I was actually never like not that as big of a fan of Odell as a lot of people. Like before he came here, obviously now he's a Brown, like I gotta like him. But before I thought, he was he just was a bit too flashy. His personality kind of got in the way. And obviously with Baker, what he did to the Buckeyes, I still remember the planting the flag thing. I'll never get over that. But obviously now he's a Brown, so I gotta kind of support him. But I just think with Barry and DePodesta, I think now that they're back together, I think they can use those assets better because we still have a lot of assets, and I think they could utilize them more because Barry's all analytics. This guy has a degree from Harvard. This dude knows what he's doing. But I kind of want to touch on Baker Mayfield because I think that's the big story of 2020, right? We have all these guys. It's Baker's 3rd year. He had the best rookie season of all time. It wasn't Sam Darnold, Jack, so I hate to break it to you. But dude did break the record for touchdown passes as a rookie in only 13 games. And then sophomore year, he kind of just disappointed. 21, I believe it was 21 interceptions, 22 total turnovers. So what are your thoughts on what do you think Baker's going to do in his 3rd year? You think he's going to go back to his rookie form, or what do you think?
See, that is a really hard question to answer. He is so unpredictable, but if he does not have a good year, I say the Browns look to replace him in year 4. But if he does have a good year, I say that I think we're going to be fine for the next 3 years. I think it was just a sophomore slump. I think that he is going to be perfectly fine this season, and we have so many weapons that you can't mess up with this offense.
Yeah, I think it was honestly just a problem with coaching last year, which is why I can see some people backing Dorsey, is that maybe the reason they didn't perform on the field wasn't the general manager's fault, but it was the coaching's fault. And I'm still under the belief that they should have hired Greg Williams a year ago and not Freddie Kitchens. And I think it kind of proved it out on the field this year, both on what Williams did as the Jets defensive coordinator and what Kitchens did as the Browns head coach. But I think that Baker has the chance to prove himself, but he needs to this year to prove himself because I don't know if he can go another year like this, especially like he did in his sophomore year.
I got a question for Cooper. So we know Stefanski loves to run multi-tight end sets. Of course, you guys got Hooper. You guys drafted Harrison Bryant in the draft. But you still got David Njoku. What do you think happens with Njoku? Because he has been the source of some trade rumors. I don't know if Barry's spoken on it or not, but what do you think happens with him?
Oh, I say that we're going to keep him for this season, but if he has a lot of problems staying on the field, and when he is on the field, he cannot use his hands very well. He doesn't know how to use his body yet. He's an extremely athletic tight end, and his upside is just too good to let go of him just yet. He's only 24 years old. He's coming into almost his contract's almost up. I feel we're going to wait until his contract's over and then go from there.
Yeah,
they did pick up the 5th-year option for him. So I was just wondering maybe he'd get traded then, but I feel like they're pretty confident in.
Yeah, I want to kind of switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we all know what happened with Myles Garrett last year with the clubbing of Mason Rudolph. I know you want to forget about that a little bit, but prior to that, he was a defensive player of the year front runner for many people.
Probably would have won it
in his return this year. What can we expect?
You have to expect a lot of anger coming from Myles Garrett, a lot of integrity, but the Browns know that he is angry and they will have him on a leash this year. They need to know that he needs to control himself.
I think with Myles Garrett, though, it's like he's never been that dirty guy. Like, he just hasn't had that resume throughout college. I mean, he had that one hit on, what was it? Trevor Siemian, I guess, that Jack just can't seem to get over.
That was the best hit of that game.
Siemian or Falk, I can't remember that he hit. I like Jack seems to can't get over it. I don't know why. It wasn't that, like, okay, whatever. But my point is, like, he just never had that dirty resume from Texas A&M. He didn't have it his rookie year. I just don't see, like, I agree, like, he did step out of line. That was no question he should have been suspended. I'm still of a believer that he shouldn't have gotten the whole year. I thought he should have gotten 4 games. But it's fine. He got his discipline. Obviously, that should be behind him now. But I think he's going to use that anger in a good way. I think he's going to, be more poised, be more disciplined. He's going to learn from his mistakes because he seems like he has a good heart. Like, he hasn't done – this is the first time really he's come across this. And actually, to go back to Baker Mayfield, sorry, I know you wanted to touch on the defense, but sorry, Jack. But, like, Baker also, like, this is the first time he's honestly underperformed. Like, he's always been an overachiever, right? Whether it would be walking on Oklahoma, right? Being not even getting a chance at the starting job by Hugh Jackson the first 3 games. Hugh Jackson didn't even want to put him in, and he was acting like he believed in Baker the whole time. No, he didn't. Like, it was clear on Hard Knocks, right? So he's always been that guy to have a chip on his shoulder, and now, last year was the first time people were like, oh, he's finally going to do it. And I think the hype got to him, but now, right, we see it. I don't know if you watched it, Cooper, but I saw his interview on Get Up and First Things First when they had him there. He confronted Rex Ryan and Nick Wright and all these guys. And he was like, he finally admitted to it. He was humbling himself. He was like, yes, no matter what happens, I have to take 100% of the blame. I have to be responsible for what happens on the field. And that was so exciting to see because now he's finally getting it. That's Rex Ryan even said it himself. Like, Baker's finally learning that the quarterback will get 100%, will have to take 100% of the blame. It's just how it works, the quarterback and the coach. So I think he's finally learning that. And also, right, he's working on getting more fit. He's trying to lose weight over the summer. That was one of his main goals. So he's finally taking care of his body a little bit more. Also, our offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, said that they were going to switch his footwork. I believe it's from right to left when he's dropping back. So that's very important because it did help quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Andy Dalton. So that's really good to hear. I mean, I'm a firm believer in what Baker can do. I mean, it's hard to do it with all these weapons. It's hard not to produce. And I think now that the Browns finally addressed the positions that are needed, right? I feel like we had Juice Landry. We didn't have to go make that big of a splash, right? Giving up Kevin Zeitler like that. But, I mean, now we're finally addressing the guys that we needed to. Though we could have invested more in linebacker, I think. But I got 2 questions for you to answer, kind of like my big questions now. So you did mention that we needed a wide receiver 3, but I still believe that Rashard Higgins can be a great kind of third guy, and we now drafted Peoples-Jones. So who do you think can kind of step in as that third receiver role?
See, from last season, I was torn between Higgins and Callaway. I really liked Callaway. I really liked how he played. But as soon as week 1 rolled around, you could tell he wasn't in football anymore. He was overweight. He didn't look like a good receiver. But now Higgins again, Peoples-Jones. I really liked the pick of Peoples-Jones, and but I just don't think Baker Mayfield will let Higgins fall into the depth chart. He's always been a number 1 weapon for him, but last season really hurt Higgins, not playing very much, only having I think 1 touchdown the whole year.
It was a game winner though against the Bills. Yep.
It was a great moment for him. And it just showed what he can do. And I don't know what was going on inside the office, but Kitchens was really messing with those players' heads.
And then my other question was about – sorry, just the last quick question. About Jadeveon Clowney that he's on the market. Do you think we should go after him? Do you think we should – because now they're thinking of extending him. But Barry did – Shrikar, to your note, Barry did say he wanted to keep Njoku around for the long term as long as he can.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was wondering.
He also did say that they want to keep Vernon in their 2020 plans. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we are officially out of the running for Clowney. After that news came out that he wanted Vernon here, and Vernon was our defensive end, was a little upsetting. But a lot of people have Clowney as an outside linebacker, which I would be okay with if he came in and played linebacker for us. I don't know if we should spend that much money on a linebacker though at this point. Clowney's really he's kind of pushing this out a little much. People are losing interest left and right. But the news that came out today was the Ravens and the Eagles are both now interested in Jadeveon Clowney, which will hurt extremely if the Ravens get Clowney. I think if the Ravens get Clowney, the division will be headed to Baltimore again.
Division's already headed to Baltimore. I mean,
I wouldn't be so sure on that because Baker. Okay, look,
I'm sure.
I think now we should kind of flip on towards the outlook of the season of the 2020 season, what we see for them in the future. Because I think we've talked enough about the past. I think let's move the Garrett suspension. Let's throw away all the 22 turnovers. Let's move past that. I think. So for the division, right, the AFC North, I think the 2 toughest divisions are the NFC West and the AFC North. AFC West could be, but I think for now, those are the 2 toughest divisions. Where do you see kind of the AFC North kind of playing out? Who do you think's going to win it? Because we've seen the Browns, they've beaten the Ravens twice in 2 years, right? They're 1-1 each year. And they've shown flashes. Baker's best game last year was against the Ravens. So he's shown flashes of being great against Baltimore. So who do you think this division crown will head? Which city will it be in? And where do you see kind of the standings playing out?
Well, I hate to say it, but Ravens are going to win the division. And for second place, I'm pretty sure Cleveland will take it. But with a healthy Big Ben, that's really hard to determine because last season, Big Ben not playing really hurt the Steelers. But third, once again, either Steelers or Browns, and I still think the Bengals will finish last, even with Burrow.
Yeah, I think that this season it'll look kind of a lot like last season where the Bengals won't compete much. But in the future, I mean, there are going to be 4 teams. Once the Steelers get a new quarterback, there are going to be 4 teams in this division that are prepped for the future and the present. So, I mean, this division, if it's not already the best division in football, I'd probably say it's the NFC West right now, will be in 2 years. And that's something I'll stand behind on my grave. So, I kind of also want to talk about who do you think the award winners will be for specifically the Browns next year? We can all get into it. Let's go offensive, defensive player of the year. Same thing for rookies, and then maybe a comeback player of the year, someone who is going to perform better this year than did last year.
Well,
My offensive player.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
My
I'll
bad.
go first.
Yeah,
My
Streaker,
offensive
why don't you
player
go?
of the year. My offensive player of the year was it came down to Nick Chubb or OBJ. I wasn't so sure I wanted to give it to Baker. I'm gonna go with Nick Chubb. I think he's super talented, really tough guy. On defense, I'm gonna go Myles Garrett. Another one I was considering was Denzel Ward, but I think at the end of the day, it's gonna go to Garrett. And I'm kind of interested to see if he really gets that 25 a mil, because of course he has such a good resume, and I feel like that incident, that's pretty much the only major kind of blemish on it. So I mean, I'm still confident that he's going to produce.
Jack, you want to kind of touch on your
my
awards
bad.
really quick?
Yeah,
No,
sure.
you're good.
I agree with Shrikar mostly. I think that, to be completely honest, we could see Baker win this Offensive Player of the Year award, but I just think they're going to want to go and run the ball a little bit more, maybe for one more year until they can fully unleash Baker. Let him learn under Case Keenum, who I actually thought was a good signing because he can be a good mentor. But I think Nick Chubb is going to take home this award. And then Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, Myles Garrett was my overall Defensive Player of the Year before he got suspended last year. I think he's going to pick up right where he left off, if not better. Obviously, it's unfortunate what he did. I believe he should have been suspended the entire year, and I think they did the right thing. But I think he'll come back next year, and he will win Defensive Player of the Year for this Browns team. Unofficial award, obviously, but he's gonna perform super well next year, I think. Cooper, you gonna go?
Oh, okay. So my offensive player of the year, I'm a full believer in Odell Beckham Jr. He is currently coming off an injured season. He has been a star for the Giants ever since coming into the league. He's one of the most electrifying athletes in the game that they will ever see. And I don't think he's going to have 2 bad seasons in a row. 2 bad seasons in a row. I really don't think Odell will ever have 2 bad seasons in a row. And I think he's going to come back poised, ready to play. But my defensive player is kind of a splash here. I say Mac Wilson. He has a huge chip on his shoulder this season.
Yep. I like that
and
pick.
I feel like he is going to come out and lead this defense.
I absolutely love that pick. I think that's a bold statement. I mean, Mac Wilson, I think he has a lot of upside. When we took him in the 5th round, I was a huge fan of it, obviously coming out of Alabama. I think for Offensive Player of the Year, I think you got to give it to Nick Chubb, man. Like I'm a huge believer in Chubb. And while we're kind of talking about OBJ getting 1,035 and 4 touchdowns as a bad year, obviously he just had a successful core muscle surgery, so that's really good. He's finally healthy. We can finally look past his injury, so I'm really excited for what he can do. Also, they run a lot of eye sets with Stefanski, the 2 tight end, like you were talking about, Shrikar, and that just works well for running backs. And Nick Chubb is just a guy that can go in between the tackles while also being elusive. So I think Nick Chubb is just going to be that guy that gets in, like maybe 1,500 plus still. And while Kareem Hunt is kind of that receiving running back that we were kind of looking to in the second half of the season. For Defensive Player of the Year, I know this sounds it's really tough, but I think Denzel Ward can easily become a top 5 corner given the right setup. And now he's got all these LSU DBs who are going to take the pressure off him. Obviously, he was playing injured last year, didn't have as much impact as he could have. But I mean, now finally healthy. I mean, this dude is electrifying. He is very poised, disciplined. He's a good corner. I'm really excited to see what Denzel Ward can do. Obviously, Myles Garrett can easily win this award. But yeah, I really like the bold statement about Mac Wilson. I think he can easily surpass 100 tackles, given the right system, given the right coaching. And I'm really excited for what we can do about on offense and defense. But how about we go to the rookies of the year? Who do you think is getting Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Cleveland Browns?
Trigger, you want to start?
I think.
Or not?
No,
You
Cooper,
go
can you
first.
start?
You go first.
Oh, I didn't want to go first because I don't really know. I guess my offensive rookie of the year. It's between. I don't know how sure I want to go with Jedrick Wills, especially with Donovan Peoples-Jones there. Um, I'm gonna say Wills, just because I feel like it's not the most flashiest position to give like offensive rookie of the year to, but I'm gonna go Jedrick Wills because I feel like he fills up a hole that they really needed, and I feel like he's gonna be perfect to protect Baker Mayfield. That was one of my steals of the draft. I didn't think he'd fall to 10. So I'm gonna go with Jedrick Wills here, but I'd obviously look out for Harrison Bryant and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Defense, I'm going to go Grant Delpit just because I think he's going to make the bigger immediate impact than Jordan Elliott, Jacob Phillips. So, yeah, I think those are my picks.
Yeah, I mean, big men need some love too. It's hard to give awards to tackles as an offensive rookie of the year, but I just think you can't look anywhere else on this team because he's going to make the biggest impact day one. He's going to start probably protecting Baker's blind side, and while he may go through some struggles with that change, it's going to be much better than what they had last year, obviously. So he's going to be the offensive rookie of the year. And just like you, Shrikar, I got to go Grant Delpit. It's a little bit cliche to go with their first two picks, but I mean, he's going to make the biggest impact, like I said. I am also a big Delpit fan. While he struggled this year, if this draft was held at the end of last year, he would have easily been a top 15 pick in the draft. So that talent, I never believe that talent goes away. He just struggled a little bit this season. So if they can get, half of what he was a couple years ago, he will be maybe even a front runner for overall defensive rookie of the year.
My offensive rookie of the year is Jedrick Wills. He's going to be the only guy in this draft class on offense, I think, that'll come in and play right away, start right away, play every snap. But then on defense, I think I'm going to go with Jacob Phillips. He led the LSU's conference last season in tackles, and I just think that he'll come in and take Joe Schobert's place perfect. Him and Mac Wilson in the middle is just, I really like that, and I think that he will have a big year for the Browns.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that happening. Two SEC guys kind of coming in and filling those roles. I think for offensive rookie of the year, I mean, it's pretty obvious here. You got to go with Jedrick Wills. And I know what you're alluding to, Jack, about how it's kind of hard to switch from right to left. But keep in mind, I think the best part about this situation is that Jedrick Wills is already used to protecting a blind side. He's protected Tua, who is left-handed, right? So he knows the kind of tendencies, what to do. He's had about a year and a half of that experience. So I think that is very crucial for him. And obviously being very good in that was his prime college, quote unquote, college career, right? Protecting Tua's blind side. So he's still protecting someone's blind side, just on another on the left side, right? So I think that's, for him at least, that's still a good switch. I think this would be the best place to do that switch, and I think he can easily learn. Obviously, he's going to have coaching from Joe Thomas. He's probably going to reach out to him somehow, some way. One of the best Cleveland Browns players that we've had. So I think Joe Thomas can easily kind of mentor him, and I think he'll be just fine as the offensive rookie of the year. I think defensive rookie of the year, I think you got to go with Grant Delpit. I mean, this dude is coming in. Although I think we've invested in three safeties, right? Carl Joseph, Sendejo, and Grant Delpit. I think we've got great guys at the safety position here. Not any flashy players that you would expect, but I mean, if you get Delpit, as your kind of free safety, maybe even kind of hybrid kind of guy, you've got Carl Joseph there as a hard hitter, right? I mean, you've got Sendejo as a hard hitter as well. You've got Redwine, who's kind of a cover guy. So our safeties are kind of locked and loaded there. I even like Justin Burris as well. So I think those guys are very, very good. So I think we're solidified at the safety position. I think last but not least, let's go with, who do you think is going to finally step up and take a big leap this year for the Cleveland Browns? Who's going to be their most improved player?
Yeah, Cooper, why don't you start us off on this one?
My pick's Baker Mayfield. He was a star in college. In his rookie year, he was also a star. But that sophomore slump really hurt him. But I feel like he's going to be poised to come back and just be 10 times better than he was last year. And adding people like Austin Hooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones is just, you can't get worse with that in this offense. And I also believe that Stefanski will make him a top 5 quarterback this season. market.
All right, big
Yeah.
predictions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'm also gonna go with Baker. Definitely a make or break year. I feel like the coaching change was so very much needed for Baker Mayfield. Freddie Kitchens was not the move. Stefanski will maximize his talents. I think he's gonna be really good. And also, as you said, the offense didn't get worse. He's still got weapons. You still got Donovan Peoples-Jones there, and you got Austin Hooper now. So I'm gonna go with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'll go quickly. I'll just quickly kind of touch on it. I mean, I think Baker's kind of one of the obvious guys that you look to. Mine is actually kind of a wild card here. I was deciding I want to go. I'm probably gonna go with Mac Wilson, but I was really close between Mac Wilson and Greedy Williams. I think Greedy Williams will finally be healthy. He can finally do his thing alongside Denzel Ward. So please, like, don't get me wrong. I think Greedy Williams can easily improve his game. Obviously working alongside Del Pitt, but Mac Wilson is finally going to be that like main linebacker role that he's going to get. He's not a big personality guy. He's not like I want this role. I want this. He's not a selfish dude. He knows how to play. He can play in coverage. He can tackle. So I'm really excited for what he can do. I think he can easily amass 100 tackles, maybe even get a couple picks in there. And it's big expectations, but I'm hoping he makes the Pro Bowl. I got high expectations for him. Obviously, we're kind of linebacker short, but he's one of the guys that I trust. And having another SEC guy in Phillips there, I think that'll only help him. So I think Mac Wilson can become one of the most improved players on our team.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people to choose from. Myles Garrett, obviously coming back from suspension. Baker after a slump. But I'm going to go with, I think, Denzel Ward, not going to be playing with an injury this year. We saw his rookie year. He was maybe a top 10 corner in the league. And I think he can prove he's up there with Marlon Humphrey, Tre'Davious White, and Stephon Gilmore for the best of the best in the league. And I want to see him be able to prove that now with Delpit and Greedy Williams at full strength. Being able to play next to them, I think, you'll see a breakout year from Denzel Ward. And so thanks, Cooper, for joining us this episode.
Just wanted a quick question, guys. Quick question. If we can go around, what do you guys think the record will be next year? Just quick record. What do you guys
Why don't
think?
you start us off then?
All right.
I'm going last.
For sure, man. Sorry, Jack, to cut you off, but I got to get this question out there. Can this finally be the year we go over 500? I'm gonna put my faith in. I'm gonna throw. Just shoot my shot with this record. I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna hope for 10-6. I think we can go 10-6. I genuinely think we can get above the 500 mark finally. It's been a very, very long time, but I think 10-6 will be enough in this league, especially with the 17 playoff thing. So I think we can get 10-6. I'm looking at our schedule. We play the NFC least. It's just that division. Literally, there's no consistent winner. There's no consistent good team. So NFC least is there. We play the Jets, which is always great because, Jets just suck. So we get that kind of in there. And I think our schedule is a lot easier than last year. We played the NFC West. Obviously, we played the Titans, big juggernauts like that. And I think with the help of schedule, less quote-unquote hype on the Browns, there's going to be a lot less hype, a lot of less pressure. So I think we're going to go 10-6.
Shrikar?
I got him going 9-7. Of course, as you said, you play the NFC East. That's pretty easy. But then again, it all depends on how Baker's going to improve. It depends on also Stefanski to an extent. So I'm going to go 9-7. I still think you go over 500.
Yeah, see, I was going to say 10-6 until that Jets comment, Anish. So I'm going to switch it back there. We're going to go 9-7. I think this team got better, especially on the coaching front, which I believe was their biggest problem last year. They were an above 500 team last year if it wasn't for the coaching, in my opinion. So I see them going 9-7. Cooper, you want to finish us off?
I hate to say it, but 11-5. We're gonna win. We're gonna be second in the division. We are gonna split series with the Ravens, split it with the Steelers, sweep the Bengals, beat the Texans, Titans, Redskins, Raiders, Eagles, Colts, Giants, Jaguars, and Jets. Lose to the Cowboys. I say we go 11-5.
Well, yeah, hope for optimism. There's no problems there. So make sure you go follow his page on Instagram. It's going to be in the description. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep your eye out for more content in the future with other fan pages. We want to try and talk to every team. So thank you so much for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.